What's up, everyone? Alex from Build Grow Scale. Welcome to our next episode of E-commerce Roast, where we're going to critique or roast Fashion Nova. I'm here with my colleague Mariana Dorado from Brazil. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Hey everyone.
All right, share my screen. Mariana, do you see my screen?
Yep, I can see it now.
All right, so just to remind everybody, if anybody is new on this podcast, what we do here is basically we go through popular e-commerce stores and we just free flow and we just break down what's potentially working, what's not working for them based on our experience. It's all educated guess. Obviously, nothing we say is factual, right? But it's based on our long-term experience over the past 5 or 6 years with optimizing dozens and dozens of e-commerce brands. All right. So what do we see when we land on this website? Obviously, I have our colleague Mariana here because we need a feminine touch on this one. Yeah, on our last podcast, it was me and James, but this time we need a different perspective from what we can see, right? So when we land on this page, on every website, the main first thing that we want to communicate clearly is what is this website about and why will we buy from here, as far as we can tell, right? The value proposition, what is the unique value proposition of this e-commerce store? And obviously this is a very popular brand, so it probably doesn't even matter. They don't need to communicate their value proposition, right? Apple doesn't need to communicate their UVP on their homepage because everybody knows who Apple is. It's the similar case with this brand as well. However, the way we're going to be breaking this website down is from a perspective of a smaller brand. We're assuming that this brand is not yet known brand, which will be the reality for the majority of the people watching this podcast, right? Now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. Mariana, you want to start it off?
Sure. So we have a lot of stuff going on. We have timer. We have highlighting main banner that just keeps changing the shadows and the colors. So it's confusing. I am
Mm-hmm.
totally distracted by the timer, to be honest. And from what we've seen so far is that usually timers are not the best choice because, first of all, several people use that and it's fake. So if you're giving a fake urgency there, that totally kills your credibility. And also because
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty distracting. Obviously, it's contextual. It can work for some stores if it's true, but I am totally distracted by the timer, to be honest, and I can't even read the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, same with me. Totally distracting. That was the very first thing I noticed. I mean, if it's a legit, totally by all means, but the way most e-commerce stores, at least the ones that we come across on a daily basis, they do is as Mariana said, they post a fake timer, and then if you open this on a new browser, it's probably the same timer is gonna reset, so that's definitely hurting the credibility. And the next thing is this huge flashy banner with up to 70% off. In this case, for them, it's probably working because that's where they want to focus all of their visitors' attention to, right? But on a typical website, this is also a big no-no. The way our brain works is our eyes go towards movement, right? So here we have a movement of timer, we have a movement of 70% off, and then the top banner is also moving, if you notice. So all of those things are kind of distracting. Where do you want people to focus on the most, right? Is it the top bar, the middle bar here, or this flashy thing right here, right?
And also, we have two timers. Like if only one wasn't enough, we have a second one that shows on the top announcement bar. So that's pretty distracting. So right now, we
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you should look the main navigation, the search bar. Usually, making the search bar as prominent as Amazon is what we recommend, because people who use the search tend to convert several times more than overall customers. So right now it's a visible
Hmm.
bar, but it could be bigger to
Yeah,
incentivize the usage.
that's a great point, right? Because as big as this brand is, it's very likely that many of their visitors already come with a buying intent and trying to find
Mm-hmm.
something. And when this bar is like very hard to see, making it more prominent will likely increase their revenue, right?
Yeah.
So,
Also, the two navigations are kind of distracting for me. Like, I'm not sure what to use first, if it's women plus curve, etc., or if it's the most filtered ones.
mhm.
So that's a bit distracting as well. But I do love the search by photo functionality, because that's pretty useful. Sometimes if we don't know exactly what's the name of the product, or we want something similar, as a woman, I usually do that. Look, like, oh, I loved that type of clothes,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't know how to search for it. Like, if it's a skirt, what's the model of the skirt? Is it
Right.
displayed by color, by model, by size, by how long it is? So that's pretty useful. I love that.
Okay, that's why we have you here, right? For that women's perspective. So I totally agree with the navigation. It does seem very overwhelming, like combined with everything that's moving and that's flashy over here, and then we have this another free 1 day shipping banner. So there are there's a lot going on here, and we talk about this on every podcast, and we will keep talking about this concept called visual hierarchy or focus, meaning our eyes tend to go towards something that is visually most prominent on a website, right? That's how we design a website when we want to guide users' attention down the page. The most important elements on the page, we make them visually the biggest or most prominent by color, right? And right now here, I don't know. It's very hard to tell where they want me to focus my attention on. Likely towards the 70% of banner, but this could be definitely more focused and cleaner, in my opinion. Uh,
I would be really curious to, like, if we don't have access to the actual data, right? What we're doing here is like based on what we've tested, what we've seen that works. But whenever I shop this kind of store, I feel like I could have gotten a better deal, because it's like so many sales going on at the same time, and free shipping and discount code. And I always feel like I could have done a better deal if I stayed for longer, but at the same time, it's too much to keep searching or to keep filtering. So sometimes
mhm.
I wonder if that's a common impression, but as a customer, that's what I feel with all of these elements and sales and initiatives going on.
Right. That's a great point. Uh, what else? So another thing here with the icons, it's typically people don't know what icons mean, right? So we always recommend labeling, putting a label underneath every icon. So cart, page, wish list, account, whatever this is. I have no idea what this icon
I
means.
checked.
Mm.
It's recently viewed, but I would never guess that.
Yeah, me neither. I could guess these, but
Yeah, because
this,
they're more prototypical, but recently viewed, not really.
yeah.
I
So
love
let's,
how they displayed the main navigation though with the images. Um, so it seems pretty
of
organized.
this,
Even
yeah.
though it's a lot of options, it doesn't feel overwhelming. So it's easier to see. It's well distributed. So I like that.
Yeah, it's very the visual hierarchy, as we say, is good on it, right? It's very
Right.
easy to visually distinguish. So
Mm-hmm.
occasion, style, by trend, by color. I mean, that's way too big to even dig deep into it, but it's definitely well executed. Let's
Mm-hmm.
move down and see what else we have. So 40% off lingerie and shoes, 50% off collection, 30% off jeans and graphics. Yeah, so it does take a lot of scrolling to get to the actual trending in Miami. Interesting. So this is cool. I'm not in Miami, by the way. I'm in Tampa, but I'm using a VPN in Miami. So that's cool that they have this geo targeting
Oh, they
here.
have it because yeah, I'm in Brazil and I see it trending in Brazil. So that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
those are different results, so we know it's actually filtered somehow. It's not scammy.
So you see different results, right?
Uh-huh.
I wonder if this is actually executed in a way that shows products that are being sold the most in that particular geographic area, which would be really cool, in my opinion.
Yeah, it would
Very
be great.
unique way of showing social proof, which is really
It would
cool.
what would be nice, also if they are doing that, would be to change the location as well. Like if I'm in Brazil, but I want to know what's being used somewhere in the States, that would be nice. If that's something they already use on the website, and if it's like an actual
Hmm.
result, that would be a cool functionality too for trends and things like that.
Right, definitely. Maybe having an ability to change it here, trending in. Maybe I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to buy what's popular in Miami. I want to buy what's popular in, I don't know, in Houston or whatever, right? Or Brazil.
Yeah.
So typically, again, this is a very big website and this probably does not apply to them. But on the typical mom and pop shop, ideally here on the main banner, you want to demonstrate your unique value proposition. So within a few seconds of landing, somebody should understand what your website is about and why they would buy from you, right? So very super clear, what products are you selling and what are your differentiators, right? Your unique value proposition, whatever that might be. Like, I don't know if you're selling supplements, whether they're organic or non-GMO or like naturally sweetened with stevia or whatever it might be that your audience cares about, right? So because the thing is, we all want to think that, oh, we're the best and nobody is selling what we're selling. But the fact is, before anybody makes a purchase, they would have checked multiple different options online. In fact, on our own partner brands, we find that customers are checking upwards of 12 different, 15 different stores before buying from our own brand. So keep that in mind. That's why it's super important to clearly communicate how's your brand different in that initial stage of research that your customers, potential customers, are doing. Okay, so let's move on to a collection page, right? So we want to make this as short and sweet as possible. Where would you want to go next, Mariana?
Let's go to trending.
Trending. That's where you would naturally go to, right? You want to see what's trending on this website.
Yeah,
So,
unless I was searching for something very specific, I would like to see what's being used. We want to know
mhm,
what people are purchasing. That's why we like to read reviews and things like that. That's why
mhm,
social proof is important. So that's a good way to start.
gotcha. So one issue that I see here from technical implementation, I'm clicking on trending, but it's not taking me to the entire trending collection, the root collection. I have to choose one of these filtered collections, which is kind of a not the best way of going about it because I don't know if I like, I don't know, pink collection or black collection better, but maybe I want to see them side by side. And then I want to choose what filters on the particular page. Then I
Yeah,
can choose
that's
whether I
an
want to.
issue. That's an issue, especially when you're naming collections in your own way. So it's not just shirts; it's a
Mm-hmm.
specific type of shirt. So that's not probably not clear to people who are not used to your brand. So that's a can be a big
Exactly.
issue.
Exactly. So obviously, this should be clickable. In our opinion, trending should take me to the entire collection of trending, and the way, generally speaking, the way you want to implement these different sub collections, it should be as already pre-applied filters on this root collection. What does that mean? So if I click on, let's say, black collection here, I'm still landing on the trending collection with black collection filtered already pre-applied. I hope that's making sense. So which one should we click on? Pink. Pink collection. So I see that they're trying to communicate something here, but this is obviously not readable. I can't read anything here, maybe because of my small screen, but still,
Yeah, it's
it's
really hard
not,
to read on my end too.
yeah,
So if you
some
have a
little
huge
blurb.
banner and you don't actually communicate anything, that's a big waste of space.
Exactly. So it's cool. It shows some pictures, but you know, it's not communicating anything extra, right? Above the fold is the most valuable real estate that you have. It's cool that we see at least some products here, but this could be cut at least in half and still achieve the same result by showing these ladies in the pink dresses and stuff, right? So if we scroll down, let's see what we got. Pink collection.
So I'm not sure about the color filter if I'm purchasing from a pink collection.
Right.
If I choose brown, would it be pink and brown pieces? Or would it take me
Yeah,
to a whole different collection? That's confusing.
that's super confusing. Now it's color filter. It's
It's
irrelevant in this case, right? Completely
yeah.
irrelevant. And that was a great point. Is it a combo between pink and brown or whatever? But it's not. It's actually, this is pulling from the entire website. It seems like only brown pieces, although this is purple or something. So
Yeah,
if
I
it's a
think there
filter by
is
color,
uh-huh.
go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
If it's a filter by color, you should not have other color filters on this collection. Or in a similar manner, if it was a plus size collection, then the size filter would also be irrelevant, right? So you gotta
Mm-hmm.
think of these things. Uh, Most of these apps, so when it comes to filters, they're crucial, right? That's when you think about it, a collection page is simply a filtering mechanism. It's there to help people narrow down their choices, right? So I don't know if you're a POD, you have a POD brand, you have shirts, hoodies, or whatever. It's just a filter that's helping people narrow down to the hoodies. And then when they're in the hoodies collection, they want to filter by size, by color, by whatever else whatever other feature your hoodies have or your products have, right? So they're super crucial. However, when you implement them, be careful because typically we implement filters with apps, and the way apps work is they put the same filters on all collections, right? So you have to put some work in custom coding to only show relevant filters on particular collections. Does that make sense? Like in this case, this color filter should not show here. And I like how they show them on the left hand side like this,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the most prototypical way and the easiest way from usability perspective, honestly. So category, this is good. In my opinion, this should be at the top. I'm on a pink collection, so I want to filter by a dress or a shoe or jumpsuit or whatever. And this is good that they have view more. Ideally, these 5 or 6 filters they show at the top should be the ones that are clicked the most popular. The way you know this is by tagging everything with the Google Tag Manager, and you will see in your Google Analytics which filters are getting clicked the most and what happens when people click them. Okay. Then I like this that they're minimized like this as well.
Yeah, although sale doesn't make sense there because there's only sale under sale. If you check
Oh
at the
yeah,
bottom,
yeah, that
yeah. So that's
makes okay, and
could
only one
be
item.
like, yeah,
It could be a
it's
separate
kind of
collection with
irrelevant.
sale items.
Mm-hmm.
And they already have it here, right? So they already have a sale collection. Hmm.
Yeah.
I guess they wanted to show which items in the pink collection are on sale, which I get,
Mm-hmm.
but the implementation is kind of confusing. Unnecessary
Yeah.
2 clicks. At least this should have been expanded by default.
Yeah.
If people are
And
clicking it. If not, let's see,
yeah,
price
it's true.
filter.
I would love
Go
to see
ahead.
the badges more prominent as well. For example, on this photo on the left
Hmm.
with the bikini, it's easier to see because of the contrast between the background and the badge. But on the other hand, the 40% off on the right, it's hard to see because the background is white. So I kind of miss that 40% or
Yeah,
that's
I
actually a
agree.
badge. So I would love to see that bigger and more prominent because you're labeling items for a reason. So people should be able to see it easily.
Right. I totally agree. Speaking of badges, so they're the third most important element on a collection page. And in this case, we have new badges for new, 40% off, 40% off. The one key, there are two key things when it comes to badges, actually. First, you want them to be self-explanatory, like in this case, 40% off new. That's very self-explanatory. But what we've seen on some brands, they have brand specific badges where nobody like would know, most people would not know what that means. Like branded badges, you don't want those because it's going to only confuse people and they're distracting. The second most important thing for badges is to not be overused. Okay, if you have like we see this all the time, you have a sale badge on pretty much 80 or 90% of your products, that defeats the purpose, right? The purpose of a badge is to make certain products stand out, like to pop. They're there to help people make an easier choice. Oh, this is a top seller, for example. These three are top sellers. Let me check those out. Why are they top
Mm-hmm.
sellers? But if every product has a badge, it's just an extra cognitive load, as we call it. It's just extra information that people's brains have to process, right? And what else can we touch here? The last thing, so filters are the most important thing. The second most important thing is the sort function, right? You have to have sort functionality so people can sort the products in the way they want. Typically, best sellers work best. There's a very another more advanced way to do the sorting selection, but I'm not going to get into that because that's requires a lot of custom coding, and most people watching this probably won't be able to do that. But by default, we recommend showing bestsellers on each of your uh, sorting options, right? So filters, sorting, and badges, the three most important things.
The product images are great as well, which is crucial for the store. Although they're not all super consistent when it comes to the background, they
Mm,
are somehow
I,
consistent and they are high quality. So that's super important.
right. Yeah. When I see this, especially, it's again, this probably doesn't matter for these guys. They're super huge brand, but on the typical store, when you see this inconsistency, this looks like a cheap AliExpress type of store, drop shipping store, right? Not that there's anything wrong with them, but that's the vibe that it gives off when you have some clean images like this one, and then you have some image like this with a random background, right?
Mm-hmm.
We should totally have these, as we call them, lifestyle photos, but not as the first image that's visible on a collection page. If that makes sense. Quick ad. Let's touch on this real quick. generally speaking, people don't add products on their collection pages. So we recommend not showing this quick add option here because it's just another thing that is distracting, and most people don't know how it works, and most stores implement it in a different way. So it's very hard to implement something for which people don't already have an expectation of how it works because there's so many different implementations for it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's likely to just cause wasted clicks and confusion for people. So we recommend removing these quick add products or quick view or a little pop-up that shows with minimum amount of information for the products. It's better to stay away from those. But anyway, let's continue with the product page because we were already on for like 20 minutes or so. Which one would you like to see, Mariana?
Let's go to this pink shirt.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Pink shirt. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have a lot of images on the left. That's good. Although some images seem similar, like maybe that could be reduced.
Mm-hmm. Right, like
So
this
yeah,
one
so
and
for
this one,
example,
it's
those
almost showing the
two,
same thing.
right? So that's one
Yeah,
thing.
so
Yeah, go
what
ahead.
she's referring to here is with images, you always want to show image that gives value to people, right? Meaning show either a perspective of the product that was not seen before, or show additional information for a product like a nutrition label for a supplement product, for example. But here, these two images are essentially the same image, just zoomed in, and this does not give any additional value to people. So I would remove one of these, right? Okay, you
Yeah,
have the shirt from the front and again from the front. It's called click depth, right? The more people click to get to the purchase, the less their likelihood is that they will buy at the end of the day, right? So you don't want to waste their clicks on images that are essentially the same. Does that make
yeah. More
sense?
images is not doesn't mean more value. Not
Yeah.
necessarily. So uh, something I just thought, as they have a shop, the whole look functionality, if you scroll down a bit, then
Hmm.
some images could make sense. So if they are also trying to cross sell other products, then those images
Mm.
could be a good idea, but that's something contextual that doesn't apply to every store. They do have this specific functionality. So in
Hmm.
this case, it could make sense. It's not the overall situation.
Right. That's a very good point. Let's see what else here. So what else? Laid back, chilling pocket tea franchise. So one good thing that they're doing here is the price is quite prominent, which is always what you want. You never want to hide your prices. It should immediately be visible, like here. And it's big and bold, and it's even bigger than the title, which is great. Another thing that they're doing well is this payment option. It's also in context next to the price. So, excuse me, 4 payments of $2. Wow, will somebody do this? But it's
Maybe.
there if people want it. Yeah. Uh, Nova
Size
deal starting
charts
at.
are, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
The size chart is also crucial for this type of store. Obviously, I need to know the measurements. If you're
Mm-hmm.
selling internationally, you should also have all the proper metrics there as well. So they do have a pretty complete size chart. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
good thing.
And it's a good implementation here with the icon and the pop-up that shows here and centimeters and inches. Obviously, they're
Mm-hmm.
selling international. That's why they have both. I would move this little link right next to the size in parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
Also, typically these reviews, this is not prototypical, but these review stars should be right below the title and above the price here. And it should show the average rating like here, 4.7. It should show it next to the stars here. So 4.7, and then in parentheses, out of 10 reviews. Okay. And when I click on it, this is not good implementation. If you notice, it's just teleporting me down. And this is not a good user experience because people will be wondering what happened. Did I end on another page, or is the page broke, or what's going on? The way you want to do this is when they click, it should automatically scroll down smoothly like this up to this section right here to the widget. Okay. Let's touch on the colors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can tell you now that these colors could probably be reduced. What we find every time over and over is when we reduce the colors to the 80-20, right? To the top, 20% of the colors that are making 80% of the revenue, conversions go through the roof for those particular products, right? So paradox of choice is a real thing. And the more you give people options, the less likely is they're going to decide, right? Because if you think about it, if they choose 1 out of 3 colors, that's a lot different than if they choose 1 out of 15 colors, because they might like 3 or 4 out of those 15 colors. And now they're like, should I buy this color or that one or this one, or I'll just think about it, and then they bounce. Whereas if it's only 3 to 4 colors, it's likely they will only one of those colors. Does that make sense? So that's
Yeah,
where
they're
you
not
always
gonna
want to
take 4
minimize.
colors usually for the same model. That's pretty weird. It's not
Exactly.
standard behavior. So that's something we
Exactly.
should avoid.
And this also, if we switch to mobile, this will probably go in 2 lines, which is also another issue when the color swatches are in 2 separate lines on mobile, right? It just pushes everything further down the page. Now, let's see. I mean, we can talk for another 20 minutes on this product page, but one last thing. What we can touch on the size swatches. This is also a good implementation with size swatches. If you're still using drop downs, stop using drop downs, because size swatches work very lot better, actually, especially on mobile. You should avoid as much as you can using drop down menus on mobile, because it's very hard to tap and very easy to mistap on options and drop downs. And these buttons or swatches, if you will, they're much easier to tap on mobile, right? And we are at the point where we only focus on mobile experience first. Obviously, I'm on a desktop version of the page, so it's easier to share my screen and for everything to be visible, but you should always focus on mobile first when optimizing. All right, shall we add this to the cart? Let's say you like this color, Mariana, pink one. Wait, it looks pink here, but it's not pink there. Isn't
Not
it
so
interesting?
pink.
On the collection page, it was like very pink, dark pink,
Yeah,
and I
maybe
can't
it's
seem
a
to find that
different
color.
swatch. No, it's not. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, right?
Maybe because they
That's a
don't
total
have.
disconnect.
Uh, Try to change the size to see if more colors show. Oh,
Nope, the
no.
same colors were there.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's
big
another
issue.
issue, right? So that particular color is the reason why Mariana wanted to click on this product, and that color is not even here. And that's a disconnect, right? That will cause frustration and a lot of potential bounces from the website, right? If you show it on the collection, or if it's not in stock, it should not show on the collection page, right? So let's say you like this shade of pink for small, and you add it to the bag. Okay.
Yeah, you
So
can't remove the icon apparently from the cart. You can't change quantities there, so it's not the best implementation.
Yeah, it's kind of like in between product page and cart page. There's no one size fits all solution. We find slide out carts work better on some stores. We find cart pages work better
Yeah.
on other stores. But if you're gonna do this version, make sure that you have all of the options here for adjusting quantity, removing the product from the cart, all of that stuff, right?
And also there's no necessity to go to the bag or to the cart as we usually say, because that should already be the cart. So you're just
Yeah,
wasting clicks again.
yeah. If you do implement this as an actual cart page, this can just be the proceed to checkout or checkout now or whatever button here. Checkout now works well, or proceed to checkout. It depends on
Yeah,
the store. So view bag, my bag.
that's a lot too.
Okay,
Share
Capital One
your
shopping.
bag, discount, automatically apply discount, navigation, my bag, screaming. That's pretty
Yeah.
distracting for an
So let
almost
me,
final step of the purchase.
yeah, so let me ask you, speaking of visual hierarchy, which are the most prominent elements that stand out to you the most on this page when you look at it?
Discount, discount
Right.
box for me.
The discount box, the checkout button, and this huge my bag. So there's no reason why this should be so huge, right? They already
Yeah,
clicked view my bag. Why would you show me a title that's like 20% of the above the fold, right? There's no point. This can be much smaller. So it's just drawing unnecessary attention away from the stuff that's most important, which is the checkout button, right? On every single page of your website, you want the next step that you want them to take to be the most prominent element on that page. In this case, the checkout button; on the product page, the add to cart button, right? So this huge discount field is what this is going to cause is people going off your website and looking for discounts on Groupon or whatever, and many of them will never return. Because when you have an open discount field like this, you're essentially saying you can get this for cheaper, but you don't have a discount. So tough luck, right? And many people will feel FOMO. They will feel frustrated, like why I don't have a discount, and they just go to search one and never return. Okay, so
yeah. And
discounts
this one
should be,
specifically is screaming, so that's a big
yeah, and
thing.
it already has an auto applied discount. $4. Wow, I can you even buy $4 shirt in Brazil? I don't think so. It's
Not
so
even,
inexpensive.
not even if you convert it
Hmm.
to reais, which is our currency. So no, maybe a
That's
second hand could be, but
right.
a brand new one, it's pretty rare. For 4 reais, impossible.
Yeah, it's I'm surprised like where do they pull their margins from? But anyway, this discount field ideally in most cases should be hidden behind the link. And when you click that link, it expands the field. Okay, it should not be screaming. Imagine if this was just a small little link, it will not be drawing any attention. If this was a small little title in the corner, the most prominent item here would be the checkout button, which is what we want, right? The rest of the things, it's fine that these are here, but I would be very careful. In this case, they're good because they're not above the fold. They're below the fold, so they're not super distracting. And I like that this is scrolling. The
Hmm.
CTA section is scrolling down as well.
Yeah.
So
And
let's see.
also it
Let's go
makes
to the
sense because they want to incentivize buying more stuff to get the free shipping. So
hmm.
it makes sense that they offer some options there, based
Yeah, and I
probably
like that they
on
have
the
that.
things you've seen. Yeah.
Hmm. So speaking of free shipping, right? They say um, buy 96 more to get free shipping, but they're not telling me how much is the shipping. The shipping should be here above the subtotal. So estimated shipping, estimated taxes, and subtotal, which should include both, right? And then if I see that the shipping is $2, but I need to add $96 more to get free shipping, then that makes no sense to me. I would just go to the checkout. But right now, I gotta go to the checkout to see how much is the shipping and then come back if I want to buy more stuff. Does that make sense? So one of the, not one of, but the biggest reason for checkout abandonments on e-commerce stores is unexpected fees, right? That's why you always want to communicate the total estimated cost here, including the estimated taxes and estimated shipping, right? All right, let's go to the checkout and we will be wrapping it up soon. So what do we have here? Fashion Nova, secure checkout, already have an account, log in, email. I mean, it's pretty clean. The
Yeah,
same issue
it's a good
here,
one.
gift card or discount open field, but at least it's not screaming at me as much, right?
Mhm.
Ideally, this should be also hidden behind a link. Shipping address, first name, last name, company. You don't want a company field. This is just a distraction. So the way what checkout forms work, not only on e-commerce store, but everywhere else, is every additional field reduces the likelihood that they will complete the checkout form, right? You don't need company. Most likely, I'm sure Fashion Nova doesn't need a company, right? It's a B2C company or D2C, direct to consumer. They don't need to have this unless you're a wholesale and you're selling B2B. You don't need a company field here. Okay. Also, this can be hidden behind a link, apartment, suite, etc. It can be hidden like a address line two or whatever, and can be hidden behind a link so it doesn't stand out because the majority of people don't live in apartment buildings, right? Unless they live in a like a downtown area or whatever. But majority of people in the country live in rural areas, so this should be hidden behind a link, right, for the apartment number and stuff. Other than that, it looks pretty clean, right? So continue to delivery. If we
Yeah, it's a
type,
good one.
yeah, let's go Al, and let's go address 123 Awesome Street, Tampa, Florida 33602, and phone number 1. I think this is a Shopify store. That should work. Enter a valid email, a@a.com, my favorite email. That's not my email, by the way. Oh, okay. So,
Nope. Okay,
so
good.
it's
Error
checking
message.
for yeah, for a domain name. Okay. Continue to delivery. All right. So contact info. It's good that it shows preview of everything here, the contact info and the address. You always want to have it visible in case people notice they made a mistake so they can change it. See, so this should have been because it already knows I'm in Miami, right? We saw that on the homepage, popular styles in Miami. They should totally show me this $6.99 on the cart page. Now, I don't want to pay, for example, $7 for shipping. I'm gonna go and add another $100 worth of stuff. But now I have to go 2, 3 steps back, and that's all friction, right? Everything that we do in optimization is about reducing the customer friction, and the more you reduce these friction points like this one, the more money you will make. So this should be on the cart page, right? Estimated shipping $6.99, and then I can make the decision on the cart page that yeah, I want to buy more stuff, or no, I'm good with paying $7, right?
Yeah. And if you see the
So
discount code isn't available anymore, so it was automatically applied, and now they're saying
oh
I can't
yeah,
use it. So that's a big friction point as well. Like I
yeah,
didn't
that's a
even
huge
choose
friction
to
point.
add it, and now I can't use it. So that's a horrible experience.
So you created an issue when there was none. I might have been totally fine paying $8 for it, but now you took it away from me, and I don't even know why. It doesn't even
Yeah.
show why. I mean, if it told me why, maybe because it doesn't apply to your and not available in your country or whatever, then I'll be fine with it. But now it's not even telling me why. And that's a huge friction point. Great point, Mariana. And last step, continue the payment. So contact info, delivery, everything, summary here. Now payment method, credit card is pre-selected, which is great. And we have PayPal, Amazon Pay, Afterpay. So it's good, right? It's pretty clean. It's obvious. One last note on these payment options here. You generally don't want to have more than three, right? Because it's just with everything else, it's going to cause a paradox of choice, especially if people are not familiar with these other options. On most sites, credit card, PayPal, and let's say Afterpay would be enough. But again, this is a huge brand. They probably have a significant amount of people using each of these payment methods. But for the typical business owner that's going to watch this video, three payment options and you're good. Okay. Keep credit card, PayPal, and one split pay option, whichever is most popular in your niche, by the way. And this is a small tip for you. Typically, Klarna, Afterpay, Sezzle, or whatever, they're typically used predominantly in specific niches. For example, Klarna is mostly used in a fashion niche and stuff like this one. So if they use Klarna, they might notice a bigger take rate on these split pay options. Okay, so check which one is most used in the industry, and that's the one I recommend you use. Not just the one that has the best fees. You got to do your numbers there and see what makes more sense. So billing address and pay now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We can stop right here with, let me stop sharing. There was a lot of info to digest there. That was fun, right? Did you want anything to add, Mariana?
No, I think it was a great critique. Obviously, as we said, some things will be pretty contextual. But overall, I'm sure you'll be able to get great insights from our critique. So glad to be
Yeah, I
here.
mean, everything is contextual, right? Everything that we share here will work for like maybe 60-70% of these things will work for most stores. Some of them won't work. Again, this is just an educated guess based on what we see over dozens of brands, right? And even between our partner brands, some things will work on a couple of stores, the same things won't work on other stores. That's what we're constantly testing. That's
Mhm.
what we recommend you do with these things. They should be used as just the starting point. They're not a fact, right? So try them out, see how they work for your store, and you can go from there. And by the way, if you haven't checked our previous episode, we roasted Shein, and it was pretty cool. They had a pretty messed up checkout, actually. So there's a lot of stuff there that you can see that we didn't cover here. Okay. That's it for this one, and we'll see you on the next one. All right.
Bye.
Talk to
See
you
you.
later. Bye.